Hi there, crafty friends. It's Diane, the creative Inkster. Welcome to the Gist projects today and yesterday and today in for March Global Inspiration Stamp Team. We're really happy that you've taken some time to spend with us and learn a little bit more about our various kits. We all seem to have picked a different one, which is very exciting, and given all kinds of different tips and tricks for using them, plus some techniques and other tools that you can use in your crafting. And we're hoping that this has been a really valuable day for you. It certainly is for us. So I want to give you a warm welcome from Guelph, Ontario, Canada. That's where I live. I'm in the Eastern time zone, so it's right on 12 noon our time. I'm an Independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I've been one since November 2010, so this is my 14th year, and I've loved it. It's been a great opportunity to meet people, to explore crafting, and learn lots of stuff. So I don't see any comments coming through yet, and I'm almost a minute into my presentation. I'm going to say everything is good and we're good to go. Oh, I see one. Hi, Noreen from Salt Lake City. Thanks for letting me know you're all out there. All right, so Kit Collection is our highlighted product this time for this weekend, and I'm showing the Notes of Cheer. That is item number 156991. It's an older kit, but I really love the versatility of it. In Canada, it's $18. In the US, it's $13. In the UK, £13. In Australia, 23. I looked a couple of others up. The euro price is 16 euros, but you'll be able to find it easily on the web store or in your area. All right, so let's open it up and take a quick peek. Hi, Angie, welcome. So this is the kit. These are the 3 cards. You make 3 of each of them, so there's 9 cards in this kit. And I've used it for a couple of different projects. I used it, if you're a demonstrator, I used it with brand new stampers because this kit does not need any stamping, so it doesn't come with a stamp set and it doesn't come with an ink spot, but don't let that fool you. There's a lot packed into here. Hi friends. And or Francis, perhaps. I'm sorry if I've pronounced incorrectly. But even without the stamping, this is a very versatile kit, and I want to show you how I have made some alternatives, 3 different cards, and a box using the contents of this kit. I teach a class in my local community of persons with disabilities, and we use this kit for a bunch of different things one time, and we were able to change it up easily, so it's versatile. Hi, Noreen. You haven't used it yet? Okay, good. Well, you need to. So for my first card, I went to the color coach to find a color coordination. And why did I do that? Because these colors in this kit, it's an older kit, as I mentioned. Many of the colors are retired, so on the back, it will tell you what the coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors are. Evening Evergreen, Pale Papaya, and Polished Pink. And I don't use a lot of the colors once they retire, so I thought, well, I've got to find a way to use this with colors that are current. So I chose Sweet Sorbet, Pumpkin Pie, and Crushed Curry as my color combination for my first card. So here are my pieces. I will post sizes. I will mention sizes in the video, but I will also post those afterwards with the cards. So card number 1. This is Sweet Sorbet. It's 8.5 by 8.5 by 5.5. So I cut a piece of our cardstock here in North America in half, folded it at 4 1/4 and burnish. So that's a basic card base here. I have a piece of white for the inside. Something I learned recently after doing cards for a really long time is to put something on the inside. It doesn't have to be white or vanilla. And it adds a little bit of weight to the back of the card, so when your card is standing up and you've put all kinds of embellishments and beauty on the front of it, it won't pop over because it's got a little bit of stability on the back. And I thought it was a brilliant idea. I didn't always do that, and I learned that. Then I've got a piece of pumpkin pie, which measures 4 by 5 1/4, and that just fits right on there. If you had some of the older colors, I think you could use like Mango Melody and a pink. I think that would be really nice together. And then I have a piece of white, and the white is another layer in. So for me, that's 3 3/4 by 5. And that's the one we're going to work on. I'm actually going to glue this pumpkin pie down. Like, who uses pumpkin pie when it's not Halloween, right? We need to use it. It's not a color I grab regularly unless I'm doing Halloween and fall colors, and so it's nice to use it as a nice brighter pop of color. All right, let's set that aside. We'll grab our white, and the piece from the kit that I want to use are these butterflies that are on a piece of 3 3/4 by 5. And I could just pop that right on there and it would be beautiful, but I want to play around with it. So what I did was I cut the top one off, and I'm going to use it as a stencil. I'm going to take my crushed curry, because that's my color palette here, and my blending brush, and I'm going to ink it up. And when you're using the blending brushes, you go in a nice circular motion. And then I'm just going to show you on my scratch paper how that kind of turns out. So then we're using this as a template. So we just come in and go right over. And when you do that, you get the beautiful butterfly image there. So that's what we're going to do on our piece of white. Something you can do when you have these nice templates in there. And let's say I wanted to go ahead and do this again in pink or another color. That's okay, and it's okay that I got a little bit extra there. Probably should have left a little bit more space. You can, what was I saying? You can go over this with, say, purples and greens and yellows. Actually, I'm a Post-it note gal, so if I kind of take a Post-it note and attach it here, line this back up where it was. I did this midstream here. Let's see how well this turns out. Then it'll kind of keep me from getting a mess somewhere else. I was just excited to get going. So then I can go over top and then lift it again. And there, see, I didn't get as much excess places, which is fine. It's just going to add more to my card. Just a little bit more of this fresh curry love. All right, and then there we go. You get the idea. You're just going to keep going around and add more color for the background. So you're creating your own background here. Oh man, I am not holding it well. Let's try that again. Good thing I didn't go too hard in there. There we go. Let's hold it a little bit more steadily. There we go. It's a rather forgiving technique. Thank goodness, because I need that. And then I'll maybe put this guy this way. You could use some temporary adhesive as well on the back of your, I don't have any, but you could use that on the back of your stencil or your template, and that would help hold it in place too. Yes, so this is going to be rather yellowish when I'm all done with the template, but I can use it again with a different color. All right, so there we go. That's our layer. And then I chose for this card for my greeting, I wanted to play with the new, to me, Everyday Details dies. I just got them this week, and so it's a number of different dies. This one here and a number of circles and so on, but it was the rectangles I was drawn to. So I grabbed the two largest rectangles and some black cardstock, and I just put them together, and when I did, it cut out these shapes. So this larger one, to show you, because you never know when you get a die exactly how it's going to look. When you cut this out, it will give you a piece that is not fully cut out, but it'll give you the double lined. That's what this gives. But then by putting this on the inside, it cuts the centerpiece out with holes in it. So that's what I ended up with. And that's my piece here. So this is about 1 3/4, a hint bigger by 3 1/4. And I used the vertical bloom stamp set and did some heat embossing. I didn't want to show you all these steps because you know how to do that. This is going to go on the front. So I'm going to pop it up. And I've also got some embellishments. Grab my dimensionals. Have you ever done this before? This is kind of a neat way to use your these die cuts. And you can do the same thing with anything that you die cut out that has holes in it like that. You can create your own little stencils with your various dies, which is wonderful because then it gives your products a little more usefulness, using them in different ways. This is going to pop on top a little bit crooked. Let's see if we can fix that up a little bit. There we go. We'll glue this down. And then I'm going to add some embellishments, and that'll be card number 1 done. Boy, I better pick up the pace. Okay, so then I took the embellishments from the kit, which are sort of an iridescent, and I colored them with my Sweet Sorbet Stampin' Blend, because this is alcohol based, and what that helps me do is make them a permanently colored and coordinating little embellishment. I'm just going to sprinkle a bunch of these over. What I love about the kits is they tend to come with lots of embellishments. Like, you get a super bang for your buck on these, and that makes it worthwhile. Then you can do different things with them, like coloring them or using them as is, and so on. All right, there's card number 1. Put that aside. And we're going to get into card number 2. You've been having fun? Have you been enjoying this? I've caught a couple of the videos, and I found it to be, as always, extremely informative. Okay, so this is a surprise. This is card number 2, but it's actually going to make 2 cards. This is Melon Mambo, and it was a full sheet of 8.5 by 11. I cut it in half after scoring it in the middle. So I've got 2 card bases. And then I'm going to add the white to the center on the inside again. And something I learned from one of my team members, I didn't do it in this case, but you don't always have to use a panel that's 4 by 5.25 or a 1/4 inch in on your card base. You can do a die cut. You could use one of those really nice postage, perennial postage ones, or a large shape that is a die cut. You could use a very large flat butterfly or something. Whatever you have in your stash can be an inside layer. One of my team members was telling us once that when she gave cards to people, one person said, you know, I feel it a bit imposing to go in and have this whole white piece to cover with sentiments when I just want to give a little greeting to somebody. And she thought that was a great idea. Just put a small one on the inside. All right, we are going to stamp on the front of our cards. We're going to take a greeting from Perennial Postage. I'm going to use sending love and best wishes, and I'm going to try to get it straight. But we're going to do some collage stamping all over the front of it. So I'm using Melon Mambo, which is the same ink color as my cardstock. And I should show you my trick. So I have a bad habit, and I know how to fix it, but with my stamps, when I put the labels on, sometimes I get them on a little crooked or a little cockeyed, and some that are like this, it's really hard to know. So what I do is I line the stamp up, I stamp it onto my paper so that I can see it against the lines, and then I line it up so the bottom of my block will be straight along the line, and then I have a better chance when I go to put it down somewhere of getting it straight. I don't know, it kind of works for me. So we're going to put a bunch of sending love and best wishes, and actually they're going to be a little higgly-piggly. I'm not going to, is that really a term? I'm not going to worry about trying to get it straight because I can't, and so there's not much point. So when you can't go straight, go all over, and then people will think it was intended to be that way. I am kind of sticking to the left side, and there's a reason for that. I'm going to take this card from the kit, and I'm going to use half of the butterfly. It's a beautiful big butterfly. So I'm just going to line them up on my trimmer so that the score piece here, and actually probably just as easy to cut with my scissors. Just cut right up where the seam is. Now that could go on the inside of your card if your card was laid, say, this way, and that could be what you write on. But I'll keep that cardstock for somebody else. So now right down the middle of the body, I'm going to cut this butterfly in half. And in so doing, I'm going to have a piece for one card, a piece for the other card. So this one where I did most of the stamping on the left side, I'm going to glue down the butterfly. Everybody knows what a butterfly looks like, right? So this is not going to be in any way difficult to fathom what should be over here. And if you're having any difficulty with the video, I wanted to mention that sometimes our service here in Ontario gets busy on the weekends, and then it has some difficulty getting the message out. But I also suggest that you just watch the replay, and usually they come through just fine on the replay. So for the dies for this one, I did two things. I wasn't sure. These are the Something Fancy dies, and it has a couple of different tags that layer, and then these pieces which layer as well as labels. And that was one option, because this sending love and best wishes is going to fit evenly on that. Go, line it up best we can. There we go. And then this is Misty Moonlight, which is not a color in there, but kind of complements nicely. So I'm going to layer those guys up. And then I got one more card and a box, and how to do a box with your kit pieces, which doesn't have to be the kit pieces. It can definitely be made with anything that you have. So this is more of a flat card here, not a lot of dimension. I'm okay with that. And then I would take the embellishments from the kit, the plentiful embellishments. Oh good, I'm glad, Maureen. Hi Marge, thanks for joining. Hi Sharon. Fumbling with my fingers. Here we go. And take your pick tool and then add these around. Fill in the empty spots a wee bit. It's been around for a while, this kit, so it has some life. And the other thing is there's a lot of ideas out there as well. Sometimes it's nice to get an older kit that's been around, or product that's been around for a little while, and then you get lots of ideas that you can work with. So that's one side of the card. And then to do it this way, I'm going to do the same thing, sending love and best wishes. Okay, let's try and get a little bit more even. I'm going to go for it. My melon mambo a wee bit closer to me here. That's better. Getting it straight. Well, I don't think anyone is going to look that closely. My feeling is that people are grateful for a homemade card. They're not overthinking it. We're overthinking it. All right, take our melon mambo, take our stamp out of there. And now we're going to take the other half of our pretty butterfly, and we're going to glue it up on this side up against the fold. So this is one of the cards I did with my team, or the group up in Elmira, where we have the community living group, because it made the kit pieces go a long way, and everyone was able to glue that piece down and have some fun with their greetings. And then our beautiful little embellishments. We'll use the bigger ones this time. And there's two different sizes in this kit. Fun. And maybe put one up here. And the iridescent ones, I find that they really pick up the colors in your paper and your other pieces. But there we go. Oh, thanks, Deborah. Thanks for being here. Yeah, so there's our second card. Alrighty, moving on to project number 3, which is a box. You don't want to miss this. This is really cool. So this idea came from Suzanne Netz, who's a demonstrator in Canada, does a lot of paper pumpkin alternatives, and that's where I got the idea from a couple of years ago. So this is an older one that I did. This isn't the one I'm doing today, but this is the size of the box when it's finished. So it is 3 1/2, a little more than 3 5/8 by 2 3/8. And you know, it's like an inch tall, so you can put a bunch of little goodies in there. You could probably get a gift card in there. Definitely you can get money in there. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make this one for Easter. I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and my instructions. That would be really helpful. All right, so what we're going to do, and I'm going to show you what the cutout looks like in the end. I'm going to find the fold in the card, and you can do this with any card base, so you could cut to the measurement you need, or you can use any pre-cut card base that's 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. So from the white side, I'm going to cut off 1 inch. So in my paper trimmer, line this up at 1 inch, lop that off, keep that for something else. And then from the left side where the printed part of the card base is, I'm going to measure at 3 1/4 inches. So I'm going to line this up at 3 1/4, and then I'm going to draw a score line. So that's effectively given me 2 score lines, which are 1 inch apart right here. Next, I'm going to score 1 inch on all 4 sides. That part's easy. So 1 inch. You could use your Simply Scored tool as well for this. I'm just finding the paper trimmer handy. So going around and doing 1 inch on all 4 sides. And the last one. All right, and so what I effectively have is all these score marks. This is what we're going to cut it down to. So I wanted to put it out here as a visual for you as to what the box is eventually going to look like, in case you want to take a picture. Yeah, it is a great idea, isn't it? So I'm going to give you a couple of tips about measuring too. So you've got all of these tabs that we want to cut. So if we have it horizontally this way, and we've got our starting here at the bottom right with that first square, we're going to cut up to the first score line. We're going to cut up to the first score line on all the score marks along here. Okay, we're going to do a little mitering as well. All right, so we've cut up all there. We're going to turn it around. It's really the same thing on the other side. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut from the bottom on each score line up to that first score line. It's like a little pizza box, I guess, in design, and how it flips up. Okay, so now where you do your mitering, which is just cutting in and taking the excess cardstock out, you always want to do that mitering on the squares, not on your flat pieces, because these are the pieces that you're going to see. So for example, on my finished box, those are the pieces you're going to see on the edges, so you don't want to miter those. So what we're going to do is on those square pieces, we're just going to cut in a little bit from the side. So we've done our line up, we're going to cut in on the center ones, we have to cut in on both sides. And that just takes some of the bulk out of the cardstock and makes it easier to glue together. So for the center one, we're cutting in on both. There really is no like measurement. It's not like a 1/16 of an inch or anything. You just cut in a little bit. You're not going to see it. You're not going to notice it. It just takes a little bit of the bulk out. So we'll speed through these because I am not measuring clearly. Totally okay. Come on, you. Pull you off, and then the last tab. Alrighty, now we're ready to put our card together, our box rather together. So we're going to fold on all of our score lines. So I started by doing this the long way. You're going to fold and press out, fold in, press out, fold in, press out. I know that seems like it would be like natural to do that, but I have had people in a class fold, and then it gets kind of bulky in there. So fold and open, and then we're going to fold these pieces up. I'm going to turn it this way just because I'm right-handed, and it'll be easier to do the scoring this way. I suppose I could have folded first before cutting. I don't tend to do that. All my cutting first. 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, starting to look like a little bit like a box, isn't it? All right, so what we want to do, these larger rectangles are the top and the bottom. So we want to put these pieces in like this, and we want the other pieces on the front to come in like that. So we're going to put adhesive on these colored areas. And I was going to use Stampin' Seal. I would normally use tear and tape. I would use liquid glue as well, except I have to hold it to dry. So I just do that. I tend to not do that. So from the back, we're going to pull this segment up, line it up in the corner, and press it down. And do the same on the other side. So we're getting that rectangular piece that was not mitered is getting straightened out. Okay, so this is actually the top. And then again here, and here, because we want the pretty colored side to be the top, right? So we're just gluing that in. And then this is the bottom. And we're going to put this up like this. And then that's just going to fold over top. Okay. Well, it's a little bit tight. Not sure why. Okay. We'll manipulate it. It's going to work. Oh, I see what I did wrong. Apologies. I should not have glued this part to the top. I should have glued it to the bottom. Oops. Okay, so it's forgiving. I can pull it apart a little bit. Sorry to lose you there. So my lid is the colored part. So the tabs are going in to make the bottom. There we go. All right, so that we have these little open flappy ends, and that's going to fold over and close up the box. And there we have our box. Now what you can do, and what Suzanne shows in her video, is to get a little angle cut on this, if that gets a little bit where it's flipping out like that. And so I'll show you how to do that. So you take your box and you open it all the way up. So open the lid all the way around. And then you can get your scissors, and we want to cut on this angle. So with our scissors, we can, sorry, I'm a visual person. I want to go cut this way. So we open it up and we cut to the point. And then we do the same on this side, and we cut to the point. You could measure it. Clearly by now you know I'm not a measurer. I'm a doer, not a measurer. Okay? No one's going to worry too much about it. There we go. And then it seals down a little bit nicer. So you could close it up with ribbon if you wanted. That would be nice. What I decided to do to make this for Easter was I took our Easter Bunny stamp set and punch, and I stamped crumb cake on crumb cake for the little bunny. It kind of goes nice with the Easter colors that I see in this. Pop this guy up. And he will look really cute in here. This would make really cute little treats for your friends. And so the piece that you're working from, if you're using cardstock and not a card base where we cut the first 1 inch off, is 7.5 by 5.5. Okay. And then I stamped Happy Easter. And one thing I did with I saw another demonstrator do with my my Easter Bunny stamp set, was I took the words, it's one stamp, Happy Easter, it's photopolymer, I cut it in half. So I can still put it back on. I know you're thinking, oh my goodness, she cut her stamp in half. But really, you'll be fine if you do this. I can stick it back together because it just fits together and back onto a block if I need it to be together. But this allows me to more easily use Happy and Easter in 2 spots. I know, we're going rogue. And then I'm going to put these here, and I'm just going to pop those down with some seal. Happy. I could put them a little more in the middle too, but I'm going to put a little bit higgly-piggly. I mean, I could have hand cut them out too. That would be another way to do this. Hand cut it out, but Happy Easter. Put a little embellishments on if you like. Tie it with a ribbon around or on this side behind the body, and that would make a really cute box. All right, there you go. That is my 3rd project. We're just ripping along here. And my last one is a card. I've got a little bit of the work ahead of time because I anticipated I might be running a bit close to the timeline here. And what we're doing in this one is we're using the envelopes. So many of these kits come with beautiful envelopes. And the inside, and you know what people are like who don't necessarily appreciate our handmade cards, is they'll rip this open and throw this out. And there's all this beautiful paper in here. Let's not put it to waste. So this is what I did with the card, is I took this inside piece and made it into a layer. So what I tried to do the first time was I just tried to carefully tear the envelope open. I found it was just easier to put it on my paper trimmer. So I'm trying to move this up a little bit. And then kind of eyeball where the track's going to be. I'm only really going to use this segment anyway, so it's okay if I mess it up. So I'm going to cut up and off, and that's pretty much trash. And then from the top down, I'll do the same thing. So I'm shooting to get this point where it angles into the cutter, just so I get the most amount of the pattern. And then it opens like this, and I have a straight edge on which I can work. So I'm going to cut it off at the flap, where the flap folds over, and then you can use this as another layer. You could put it inside the card you put this card in to match. And I'm cutting this down to a specific measurement to fit on this card. It's going to be 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. So 3 5/8 tall, gets me to here, by 4 7/8 inch wide. So I have a little bit of white showing, so I'll just trim a little white off one side, and then I will flip it over and cut it down to 4 7/8. So then I've got all the white off, and I have the beautiful butterflies, which I love. I love butterflies, so this kit was perfect for me. And I embossed it. So I don't like to bring my Stampin' Cut and Emboss in when I'm showing a video, so I did the pieces ahead of time. So that's how you cut that down. Look at that, I'm ready to make another card. And then I used some embossing folder, and this is called the Basics Embossing Folder Set. I call them Basics 1, 2, and 3 in my stash, and it's this one that has the lines on it. I thought that for this, I didn't really want the flowers with the butterflies, and the dots are not tight enough. So you need a fairly tight pattern to make this look like it's quilted. And so that's basically, you can see it better on the back side, but really the effect that you get when you look at the card on the front is pretty nice. So I also, with the same embossing folder, embossed this 1 3/4 inch circle in Orchid Oasis. So fold this in half. So beyond the envelope, I'm using the actual greetings from this kit. I like to stamp my greetings, so I'm not a big person who likes to use these ones here. But they come in various languages, which is super because not all of our stamps come in every language. So if you're sending a card in your country and you need a different language, or if you're sending it to a family member or friend who lives somewhere else, well, it's kind of nice to be able to do that. So this is Lemon Lolly, 8.5 by 5.5. So then my layer here in Orchid Oasis is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Let's trim that down to 3 7/8. by 5 1/8. There we go. I think that's all the trimming we need to do. And because we want to add the twine around the 2 layers, we're going to glue them together first before adding them to the card front. So I'm going to get my liquid glue, glue my embossed butterflies down. So if you didn't catch that, the tighter the embossing folder pattern, the better it looks as a quilt look. All right. And using the envelopes, like definitely don't leave that to go in this garbage bin. Like no, can't do that. And then these are retiring colors, so that's why I'm kind of using them up this month. And I'm going to grab the coordinating Orchid Oasis piece. And for these, I just tend to hold it like that with a little tail, maybe 5 inches, wrap it twice, and then grab that tail of about 4 or 5 inches again, and that's where I'll cut it. Sometimes I have excess, and sometimes I have leftovers, sometimes I don't. That's okay. We're all good. So repeating that with the actual piece. And then I'm ready to tie my bow. Now, one thing I find with tying the bow, yes, you can use those double ended tweezers or that, but I find a glue dot just works perfectly. So I'll grab my glue dot. I know where I want this to land. Let's get our card base out of there. It's like a visual problem here. We're going to grab a glue dot, and I want to tie my bow there. Grab glue dot with the scissors, and I kind of roll it up a little bit so it's not going to have other things catch on it. Kind of roll it a little bit. Find the spot I want it to be and press it down. Then when I place my twine on it, or ribbon, my hands are free. I don't have to like do that funny machination it is to be able to do the bow. And it's easy enough to pull up if I'm not in the right position. Alrighty. Thanks, Maureen. Appreciate that. So this kind of like helped me get my bow where I wanted to. I can remove that piece afterwards if I want, or if I'd gotten it closer, can actually tie it right on there. Let's do that. Tie the bow. Not everybody likes bows because they can be a little finicky to play with. But I hope this little tip of using a glue dot helps you. We've all got our little tips and tricks. I can just trim off this little excess piece. There we go. And then I'm going to add this to our card base. Whoa, I'm running out of time. They're going to be sending the hook to take me off screen, like at the Oscars. There we go. Place this on the front. I didn't put a white on the inside of my lemon lolly, but I could definitely do that. Some people I know also keep the insides, and when they mail the cards or address the cards and write the cards, they'll take their white and write only on the white and then glue it in. So if they goof it up, the inside of their card isn't all messed up. That's thinking ahead, let me tell you. Now here is my circle that's embossed. I'm going to place it on over the ribbon, and in this case the twine, and I have a tendency to put it above and below. I find if I put my dimensionals right on it, it flattens out in one spot, number one, but also it gets to be a little flimsy. It doesn't stay put nicely, but if it's attaching paper to paper, it works a little bit better. Okay, and then my greeting, which is super simple, I will add some, because it's already printed for me, add some glue there. Then this will go nicely over top of the twine. And then a couple of the embellishments, which have flown away. Here they are. We'll get those in place, and that is the end of my presentation. So thank you for hanging around with me and taking a look at these alternatives for the Notes of Cheer set. I hope that you like the ideas, and we'll give them a try with another set of yours. I'll pull in those cards real quick and projects so you can take a quick peek at them. And preferred this one to the other one, but that's okay. There we are. And just a reminder, if you, when you place your order after this weekend until the 17th, I believe is the date, and you use my host code because you're going to purchase from me in Canada, then as one of my customers, then you will get into the draw for an embellishment prize. And I want to thank you so much for being here. It was really nice to craft with you. I believe Elizabeth is on the schedule, but Maureen's pinch hitting for her. So please enjoy the rest of the day and these presentations. And if you're just watching this on replay, catch the other ones. All the best, everybody. Bye for now.